I'm gonna show you guys how to do like my shakes. My shakes are like a bit different than everyone else's. Like I said for a time remap. Um, if you haven't seen my time remap video, you probably should. I'm gonna leave the link to that in my description. That's probably the first step that you should be taking if you're gonna try to figure stuff out. But I time remapped this clip already, and I also have a solid here for later on when I show you why my shakes are a bit different than everyone else. But I'm just gonna show you just pretty much the base movement, because each clip has movement. Like let's say there's a camera shake in the actual clip, it would look a little bit weird, and you kind of can't control that part. But you can control your shake. So we'll start by adding an adjustment layer, and then my settings are normally all the same. They will change depending on what you're trying to do. Personally, I just do like 2.7 on like everything, or 2.6, doesn't really matter. Then I do like 3, or like normally I do 3, less depending if I want like how much movement I want being done. And then depending on what my scene is, I'll like leave it at 0 or like 0.02, like that. And then it'll kind of leave that little bit of aftershake with it. But for now, we'll just do 0, make it a little bit more easier to remember. Like I said, I use this because I'm lazy. So make sure you have tiles on your actual clip. Let me make sure this is... The reason I'm doing this is so when you put this in the pre-comp, this is like what shows up. Like this is what the pre-comp is. It doesn't bring it with it. So everything that you put in the pre-comp will go onto like the screen. So what I do normally is I'll have like pretty much around the same, unless I'm trying to do like a certain thing. Like if I'm trying to do a slide, I'll change like the X or the Y, but normally I just have them around the same, like 100. I like to do random, and then what's important about random is having your seed be different for most. Like you just kind of play with the seed a lot. I also always have on some Z shake and like around 3 to 5 tilt shake. And then sometimes I'll use motion blur. I'll put it on now just for people that are curious on how to use it. It doesn't really matter. You could just turn it on and off. Won't be that much of a difference. But it'll show you kind of where you're going as well. So let's say I want to do a scale transition. So first let me just pre-comp this. The reason I add an adjustment layer is because sometimes with like flow framed clips, like if you go into it, the clip itself is at whatever FPS it was flow framed to. So if you add like an adjustment layer or like another clip that's like different FPS, it'll just go back to default. There's another way around it. That's not the point though, but it's kind of why I did that. And then I just have this. I put tiles on this. You don't have to put tiles on both. I kind of just forgot. And then let's say I want to do like a scale transition. Or actually no, I should probably do a slide because that's what the movement of the clip is. She's going right. So let's do this. She's going right. I normally have like just a little bit. Like if I'm gonna go this far, I normally just go to like slightly where you can see like a tile. Because you could just fix it with like a one framer. And then I do like something like that. Doesn't have to be that long. Because this is the base. I always do this first. It's gonna look a little weird. You can always add the 0.02 shake, make it look a little bit different. But this is how I do it. So I have this on, and then what I try to do is I like to have it scale in or out, like just play with the seed. It's a little loose, so what I normally do is I have it like really like tight. It'll like last like 10 frames or so, and then I'll go like a little farther out so it's not just like really sharp, and I have time for like framers that without giving it too much like movement. So this is what it looks without it and with it. It's really subtle, but it's very pleasing to the eye if you know what you're doing. And like I said, each of the things are different. So like if you change the seed, the shake could look completely different. Like if you start here, it could look completely different. I know some people do like normal amp instead of random, but this is just how I prefer it. I'm gonna go back to this shake because I like this one. And then obviously this will look a lot better with some more polishing, like one framers, blur stuff. And then let me show you as well what the 0.2 would look like. Or like you can do anything around there. Like you could do 0.04 if you want. But just adds a little bit of movement. It looks like it locks here, and that's just like a position issue. Hold on. Lock this up. Okay. And like for different types, different types of shakes, you could change like the frequency. I would, if you're gonna change the frequency, I always try to like, I would advise that you lower your amp maybe, or just like change your graph as well, because it's gonna look a lot different. Like even just like a little bit. Yeah, it's a lot quicker looking. I also do have like just a really long clip. Everything looks different. So like if I were to remap this differently, let's say, let me grab this. Alright, I'm gonna make my clip a bit shorter now, and then show you what it would look like on a shorter type of clip. Your shakes, like I said, are definitely gonna vary depending on the size of your clip, or like not the size, but like the length, and as well as how you remap or what type of movement is already in the clip. So let's say if I had this shake that we had last on here, what is this? Just a render glitch? Oh no. I'm gonna turn the tiles off for this. Just I wouldn't normally do this, but just so it doesn't mess up the solid. See how it kind of looks a bit different now that the clip is shorter. And then if we go back to 2.7, a bit more smooth. And then you could drag it out and it would look different as well. And you could also just keep playing with the seed. Like if you didn't like that one, you could go like complete opposite direction like this. Oh, there's no scale, there's no slide. Let me do that real quick. Add tiles on this. Just do it like that. Or I can just copy and paste this one. Yeah, it looks like obviously a lot different depending on like how many keyframes out you put it. I think the biggest thing that you should learn is that it's not gonna look good the first time you do it. It'll look better the more you play with your shake and like change the settings around. But it's also important to have polishing factors like framers and all that type of stuff to make it look better. Let's say now you want to do a shake out of this and like you have clips that move together. I was too lazy to go find a clip that moved together, but let's say this one's going back and then this one would slide this way, right? You move this back a bit and then slide it this way just a little bit. Make it pretty tight. Alright, now this is where things get a little weird because I don't think, from what I've heard, not a lot of other people do this. Which is weird because I thought this was normal. Maybe it is normal, I'm not sure. But I would make it like this. Pretty much the same thing as the other one. Do it a little bit lower this time. Make it 0. And then like the 10 frames out. But this time it's gonna be like, I'm gonna try this out. This 0. And then you're gonna have like sort of that build up. And it'll look really good if your clips move together and kind of transition well already. It just adds that little bit of camera movement type of thing. But I always kind of let this one be a little bit smoother. And then I'm going to change the settings. Just some basic settings. Doesn't have to look perfect. It'll look a bit better if you guys play with your settings for a bit longer than I do. I'm going to change this to quarter so my shit doesn't crash again. Okay. What the fuck? Okay, so if you go this way, I think it's better if the seed is fully towards the left side. And like you could also play with stuff like phase. So if they wanted it all the way over there, kind of like that. And then let's say I was trying to make that fit, right? I would slide it this way. See that kind of looks good? It's because the shake. And then normally what I do though is I would put like a one framer, which is something I'll probably make a tutorial on later. But I'll add like a one framer to give a bit more of movement to this, so it's not just kind of like flat hard cut like that. Obviously it's gonna look a lot better if you have your own clip, but I'm just trying to show you how the shake kind of moves an actual clip. But if it moves together already and then you add like a shake like this over it, it should look pretty good. Let's add a little bit of motion blur. See how that looks. Might change it a little bit. And then this is it without the camera. It looks a little bit different. And then this is it without the shake. The shake is pretty important. Kind of gives it more liveliness to your like quote-unquote camera. And I think shakes are just pretty important as well. Kind of like a really good polishing factor. This is what it should look like. Sort of like that. Obviously I play with it more and make it look a lot better. I play with your settings, figure out what matches, what fits your style, and like your clips may look a bit different and your remapped a bit different, so different shakes meet different like needs. But this is how I kind of do mine. I kind of like the 2.7 ish frequency with like a 2 to 3 amplitude, and then kind of pretty balanced. Like yeah, for stuff like this, I like slides even, like I'd probably do less X and more Y to give it more of like more noticeability to the shake. Or you could just make it look like this, less Y and more X. It looks a little bit different. Like every setting is very important. But yeah, and then yeah, just you can play the seed all you want, and then it could completely change how your edit looks. Like that looks pretty cool. A little bit of bounce always makes everything look better in my opinion. So that's about it. I think GMV and like other types, like stuff that's not AMV, shakes might be a little bit different, but it's pretty self-explanatory once you get the hold of it. But yeah. And then if you haven't watched the time remap tutorial, I would do that before trying this.